Hi. I noticed while recording this video that you could definitely tell that I was not feeling well, and I don't really want to re-record it or just scrap this because I think it has a pretty important message throughout it, and really just that we need to pay more attention to these disabilities, mental, physical, or like mine, which is invisible. And hopefully you're able to get through all this, even though I sound extremely exhausted because I was. But yeah, enjoy the video if you can. All right, what's up, everybody? I had a different idea for today, and that is to just play Minecraft while talking about a somewhat serious topic, just because it's something that affects me and a lot of people. Whoa, that was a weird thing. I'm always so confused of why it lags so much like this because it's like I have like last gen or the gen before i7 and the RTX 4060 and 32 gigabytes of RAM, so I have no idea where all this lag is coming from. It's weird. Whoa, that's cool. Give me a second. Okay, good thing I checked because I forgot to start recording audio for the game. All right, we're good. So, yeah, serious topic, but just try and talk about it in a manner that isn't too like sad or anything. And it is disabilities and chronic disabilities, specific or chronic illnesses on that level of disabilities because that's what I have. So, I don't want to. It's kind of weird to explain because it's pretty much narcolepsy and chronic fatigue syndrome. And I know there are people out there with rougher ones, but man, it kills me sometimes. Um, and I have a few things written down. I just want to kind of talk about it. Like trying to work under conditions like this. So, I have a job that is more labor intensive. It's working at a store, and it can sometimes be a little difficult, but I get through it most days. There are just some weeks that I just can't do it, and I end up calling in multiple times in a week, and it's frustrating to me, but it's just what I have to do sometimes. And there's no. Why is it not making a sound? Let me check sound. It makes it a little harder than it should just to work because it's like I can't think. I have to stop for like a solid 3-4 minutes at a time between each thing that I do, and it frustrates me, and I know other people around me get annoyed, but that's just how I have to do things. That's just the way it is. I was worried for the longest time that I would not be able to get a job just because of how severe it was. I uh, had to leave public schools because it started when I was 15, and it felt like it would never get better. It took almost 4 years for signs of it getting better, and it just seemed like it might have been stress or something. I was doing pretty good working, having problems every now and then, but not too bad. Then within the last month, 2 months or so, I had a really bad episode and had to go home, and I ended up calling in the next 2 days after that. And it just was rough because it's not like I was at home just doing whatever I felt like. I was in bed almost all those times, or on a couch, really, because it's a struggle to go upstairs for a bed or to bed. And I was just worried about being able to work, so I went in the next day or the next day after those days, and had to take it really slow because I was just completely exhausted. Something that I hadn't really had issues with for 2, 3 years because I was almost 19, like a month away from being 19 when I started my first job, which is this, and was not sure how long I'd keep the job if I had to keep doing this because I was doing so good for about a year, a little over, and then it started getting real bad again. And it's just a struggle for it's just a struggle for people with chronic illnesses or invisible disabilities, especially when you have to explain if you always have to explain what's wrong to people because they can't physically see it. And that's another thing. I think chronic illnesses and uh, other other types of invisible disabilities in some ways are a lot harder than physical ones because of that, like, people can see that you're bound to a wheelchair, people can see that you can't use one arm or can't uh, use your arms or a specific hand or something like that. Not that those aren't hard; those are extremely hard. That's not the point of this at all. It's just it doesn't seem to be that many people that pay attention or notice these disabilities, and it's kind of frustrating. I've had issues with it at work before, and I just kind of have to ignore it because what am I supposed to do? Or like I was at a store one time and was trying to use a chair, or not chair, one of those carts, motorized carts, just to be able to stay with my family. And one of the people stopped me and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You're too young to be using that." And then I try and explain, "Oh, I have this," and they're like, "Well, do you have a doctor's note to be able to use this?" And I was just confused because this was it's a public thing. It's not something that you use for uh, that you. Sorry, it's frustrating to me, so it's hard to think right now. It's not something that you yourself pay for or something like that. It's there for people who are disabled or just can't walk, like elderly people who have a harder time walking. And I obviously don't have a doctor's note to use a public motorized scooter that's for people like me. So I had to get off of it, and he just went, "Yeah, we have a lot of teenagers go around and joyride on them, so I can't let you do that." And I'm just like, "Okay, whatever." And it's not worth filing a complaint to the manager because no one listens, and it gets tiring having to file a complaint for something that happens all the time, and I I just don't care at this point. Oh, I need to find food instead of getting wood. Oh, and it's almost nighttime, so I better use this and make a shelter when I get a chance. First, I'm going to go look for food. But yeah, it just gets frustrating having to deal with people, especially since, like, I was 17 at the time and my family was already up ahead, and I was just having a hard time walking just because just pain. And I'll go further into that later. That's one of the other topics I have. Um, yeah, I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I needed to sit down before I even went into the store. And they and then they stopped me, so I just ended up having to walk the entire way through. and then spent the rest of the day having to lay down because I was just exhausted and hurting even more. I don't think I need to go to sleep. I just need to make a bed. Please let me sleep. Please let me sleep. Please let me sleep. Please. Oh, nice. I have never seen that before. Yeah, I just have had problems like that in the past, or like people saying, you're fine, you're young, which is another thing that I could spend forever talking about because I've always hated that. And it's not because I'm not young. That's not it. I'm only 20. More just an issue of people using that as an excuse of why they're correct and I'm wrong. There are things that I'm wrong about. That's not what I'm trying to say by that. It's more of just don't use someone's age as a reason that you're better than them. That's not the way that it should be. It should be off of I don't even know. Just not like that. Oh, that's interesting. I'm stealing your wheat, but don't worry, I'm planting back the seeds. These are just simple things that people don't really think about. I hate making it sound like, oh, well, I'm special because of this, this, and this. That's not at all what it is. I need help sometimes. I'm not able to do what people think as normal a lot of the time. All right, this is like the fourth take of trying to get this specific sentence in because I keep getting interrupted. Yeah, so I've spent a lot of my high school years just trying to get better and just lay down and sit on a couch, go to doctors, and all I could really do at that time was listen to music, play games, and try and sit up and play music. It just depended on how I was doing that day. And obviously, I'm doing better now than that. Even my rough days I've been having recently aren't even close to that. But it can still be bad. I've had a couple of seizures too, just pretty much stress induced. And those are rough and it's hard to get anything done. And yeah, I don't really know what else to bring up in this topic. I hope this doesn't sound too like, oh, I'm a sad disabled person, and that's not at all what I'm trying to get across with this. It's just more of a people need to be more aware of people around them have invisible disabilities that you would never know about if you didn't talk to them. You might know because they might not be like if you're working with them, they might not be at work all the time because of that. A lot of us don't like talking about them. Like some people at work just found out recently, and I've been there for a year and a few months now. Yeah, it's just I just want to mention some of these things, and I don't see why I should feel guilty about mentioning things and seeming like I'm trying to say stuff for attention, which that's not at all what this is. This is just something that I wanted to do, and it all started because at work today, like an hour and a half in, I was feeling perfect, and then all of a sudden, I just start feeling like I'm not really there. I'm lightheaded and I'm not really sure what's going on, and I just try and push through. Then I start getting a lot of nerve pain, so I just put on my jacket and try and work through it. Then it starts getting worse, so I go and sit down, realize that I'm behind, so I start hurrying up, and that just makes it worse. And then I get told by other people that not to worry, but I don't know how, because I really want to keep this job because I have no other way of knowing if I'll even be able to keep down a job if I can't keep this for these reasons. But I know that they all understand and they're willing to work with me, which is great. It's more of a me thing than it is the job. It's just the way that I am. I don't know how to explain it. So I might want to start looking for a place to build a house right now just to get something there, and I might want to be close to the village, but not too close to where zombies will start spawning. So let's work on getting some more wood and we'll start that. Yeah, and this also is not meant to be. I probably have mentioned it a couple of times. So that's because I just feel guilty for even mentioning stuff like this. It's not a, oh, everything's horrible. I suffer constantly and no one has any idea. That's not it at all. I'm just wanting to be more vocal so that maybe there's a chance someone else will see this and realize that one, that they're not alone if someone else has issues, and two, that someone sees this and they don't have these similar. Are you kidding me? Is that another village? Anyways, um, they're not alone if they have similar issues or a different invisible disability. I just want it to be clear that if someone doesn't have to someone that doesn't have a disability, that this is how things can be for some people. Everyone's lives are different, obviously, but I just think that we should all think more about other people, and if someone needs more help than others, then maybe see what you can do to help. And they don't if they don't want any help, that's okay. I know I struggle with getting help because I want to do everything on my own, because I absolutely hate being the center of attention to a certain point, and I feel like if they're having to help me, that means that I'm doing bad enough to where they're watching me. Just the fact that I'm not doing good enough is also hard, but I mean, at the same time, it's all I can do. I There's not really a good answer for it. Yeah, this has gone on to be a weird ramble about this. Like, I've talked about the first topic I wanted to, about working with a disability, for 25 minutes, and this has probably been cut down quite a bit, though. And so I'll go on to the next topic, which is same. It's still on the disabilities. It's just a specific thing. Oh no, I did talk about two different things. I talked about the chronic illnesses are more annoying than physical, but I did forget to bring up one thing, and that is, like, if you are wheelchair bound, or if you don't have a hand or something like that where you can't work the same way that someone else does. Honestly, so there are some days I would rather take not being able to use my a part of my body than what I deal with, which I know sounds awful and horrible, but I would rather have my expectations for every day be set out ahead of time than not knowing what to expect from myself every day. And again, with the physical disabilities things, those are absolutely horrible. And I'm not saying that everyone everyone who has a chronic illness or something like that has it worse than someone with physical disabilities. Most of the time, we don't. This is just my perspective of it, and I'm not trying to say I have it worse than anybody else would, because I also hate comparing, especially with disabilities. So, with chronic fatigue, I know people probably know more about that, or know more about like narcolepsy, which I have, than actually what chronic fatigue is, because it's a little weird. But at the same time, it probably makes sense just by the name. Yeah, it's just issues of constantly being tired, really. But at the same time, it's more like less of a mental thing of being tired and more of just a, I hurt so bad I cannot feel anything. I don't know what I can do at this point. I just want to lay down and just be left alone and hopefully fall asleep. It's not it's not good. I know that might be kind of obvious, but it's not a good thing. And it gets kind of frustrating sometimes because I absolutely hate having to stop and sit down, especially when, like, sometimes the pain will stop whenever I'm moving, but a lot of the times it's just there and I have to deal with it. Some days I just feel hopeless, but I make it through somehow. That's more of a newer thing that I kind of noticed. I've always dealt with it, especially around the same time I started having the narcolepsy episodes and issues, which that I think leads me into that, and that is the narcolepsy. Narcolepsy sucks. I know that's like a very obvious thing to say, but I what else am I supposed to say about it? I have a bunch of blackouts in a day, and it's just like everything goes dark, everything goes like cold or warm, and like I'm pretty much asleep for 10 seconds to a minute, and it happens anywhere between 10 to 100 times a day. It just depends on how stressed or how the world feels like how much the world feels like it wants to punish me. The problem is that if I'm having a conversation with someone during that time, I don't really remember what we were talking about, and I just have to try and go off of whatever they're saying at the moment, and I'll use that as a guess of what they were talking about, and most of the time that works, but then there are times where I'm like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I could not hear you. And I know I annoy a bunch of people. Like, I know I annoy my family with it, but I can't help it. I think it honestly frustrates me more than it frustrates anyone else. I'm just trying to think of something to say because this is a rough thing to make, but I just really wanted to make it for myself more than anything. And if anyone finds it and is able to use it as something to help them, that's great. And if no one sees this, that's really great because I'd hate someone to watch this. It was so bad at one point with like the blackouts and I would collapse because of cataplexy at the same time or at different times that I have scars on my arms and legs just from falling on something. Like I have a large, like 5, 6 inch scar across my left arm. I had to think about that. Hey, no, that's my bed. What do you mean you can sleep but I can't? Anyways, yeah, I have a large scar on the left side of my arm that is starting to fade away. It used to be uh like 5 to 6 inches long. It's now about 2 or 3, but it scared me when it happened because I was alone in the house. I think it was like Memorial Day or something. Yeah, I just got really scared, and when I got up, I noticed that I had a really big gash in the side of my arm, and so I just went and grabbed band-aids cuz I was used to uh finding myself on the floor bleeding at that time because it was a very often thing. And luckily, after like a week or two, it started getting better, and I would like do different things to try and help with it. And luckily, I didn't need stitches or anything, mainly because I didn't want to go to the doctor and get stitches another time. That's the story for another day, though. Yeah, it was just a very common thing where I thought that for the longest time I would never be able to have a job. It's kind of what I felt like what doctors were saying because, like, I just had such severe symptoms. I just didn't know what to do. I just felt lost with nothing that could help. I think I'd be proud that I've gotten this far. Don't know how to continue this part. I guess I can go on to the last topic that I had an idea for, how chronic pain affects me. It's a really hard thing to describe. For me, it feels like I'm like everything fell asleep, like my arms, leg, even my head at sometimes feels like it just fell asleep. I have no way to wake it up, and just that sharp pain but at the same time numbness, it's just never, it feels like it's never going to go away because of how long it lasts. I just don't know what to do, and I just kind of just lay there doing nothing, maybe listening to something, and I have to deal with it. I get through it most of the time. I had some issues today. I was able to work through it at work. What I might do, I actually really hate birch, so I'm not building here. Why is it lagging so much? I've got to look into issues with Minecraft lagging because if I need to download a mod to make it look smoother while recording. But yeah, I'm gonna go look for a area to make a house, and I think I'll end it off here. But I do want to say that I'm only, like I've probably said 1,000 times at this point, I'm only doing this because I want to talk about uh these hidden disabilities more, because you you hear about mental disabilities, you hear about physical disabilities. You don't really hear about these invisible disabilities like narcolepsy or fibromyalgia, POTS, all these different things. And it can get frustrating for us who have them and for us who have severe versions of them, like I do. We just either have to keep going without anyone's help because no one really knows and we're too afraid because there's not a lot of talk about it, or we try to get people to help and they either do or they don't, and just act just think we're acting like this to get attention. People don't know what's going inside other people's heads, so I would suggest not doing that latter thing. Trust someone, especially if they're obviously trying. Like I like to think that I show that I am trying to do as much as I can. Like I want to work. I don't want to sit at home all day and get nothing done at all. I want to do other things. Like I want to go out places. I want to be able to drive. I can't drive and I am 20 years old. I'm too afraid to drive because I don't want to kill people. I want to do all these other things and I'm trying everything I can. Like there's just a lot going on at once. Ooh, there's a cherry tree, so I might go build my base up there. Unless it's not really a grove, then I'll just mine the tree and start planting my own. But yeah, there's all these different things that I might never be able to do, and people will just think that it's, oh, you just don't want to. And no, it's like I would like to be able to drive myself places. I mean, cars aren't really affordable right now, and it's probably going to get worse in the next 2 3 years, but it it's still something that I'd like to do. I'd like to not have to worry about living with other people without my own safe for my own safety, but that's just kind of what I have to do right now, because it's not safe really. I literally just said that, but it it isn't, and I'd like to stay safe. I don't know about how about some of you, but I'd like to stay safe right now, and it's kind of frustrating because I feel helpless in some ways, but I can do a lot. I can do a lot of different things. I can play guitar, I can play bass. I you need someone to tell you everything about Nintendo or random random useless facts that you'll never need in your life. I'm right there, and don't worry, you'll be hearing about it before you even asked, and you won't even have to ask because I'll just randomly say it, and you won't like it, but I'll do it. The skills that I have can't really be used in a world where you can't drive yourself or want to actually have a job, because like I don't I would like to do this as a job, but will I have that opportunity? No, because I'm not going to do things in the YouTubey way. I'm not gonna start promoting myself more than I already do. Not that type of person. Will I? Could I change my ideas about it and in the future? I could. I could. I'm not. trying to say this because that would be real funny if that ages so poorly and I like start promoting like whatever business I do on social media. But right now, at this moment, I hate advertising for myself because it just makes me feel like I'm trying to be better than everybody else, which is like my worst feeling ever. Let's put a cherry blossom down and I'll start building a bad looking house. I am not a good builder, so I'm going to say that before people make fun of me because you can't make fun of me for something that I've already admitted. That's how the internet works, right? Please tell me that's how it works. I can't handle having another cyberbully. For 45 minutes? Are you serious? It took me that long to build a house? I was that distracted? Yeah, so for 45 minutes, I guess this isn't bad. I mean, I've got this much hay bales, so that's a lot of bread. I've got some stuff in here that's nice. I like having the potatoes and the carrot and melon seeds, and I can grab pumpkins like down here, I think. Um, but yeah, for 45 minutes of this and like 2 minutes extra of other stuff I need to edit down, I think this is pretty good. Let's go ahead and set the spawn just in case. Okay. Um, but yeah, this is just something that I wanted to bring up because you never know if someone needs this or if this is really just for me, honestly. I just wanted to put something out there to show some kind of awareness, even though I know no one's going to see it. But yeah, just treat people with kindness and don't make fun of someone for something that they can't control, and don't be don't be afraid of not being able to control parts of you. It's okay and you'll get through it. Bye.